So, Declan McKenna, thank you for joining us on the Alternative Show today. It's great to have you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Up and down as everyone is at this point in time, but looking forward to Christmas and all that. So yeah, things are good.
First thing I want to ask you is where are you coming from? Because I saw on your socials a few months ago that your home studio got flooded.
Yeah, so I'm not living at the same place anymore. Funnily enough, we were kind of getting booted out of that house like 2 or 3 weeks after that happened. So in a different part of northwest London still, but yeah, fortunately I've got the studio now on the second floor, whereas before it was kind of a bit of a basement, and I've learned from my mistakes there. But yeah, it's pretty dramatic. Fortunately, nothing got too badly broken or anything like that.
Oh, so it was okay then? All the instruments made it out?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I'm imagining like the water level rising by the second, and it's some Titanic-esque situation with you floating out, clutching on a keyboard or something. Like,
yeah, we were all kind of like in our swimming trunks, just like pulling out synths, and like my pedal board was literally submerged completely. Like you couldn't see a lot of the stuff that was covered because I'd left them on the floor. But fortunately, it was nothing like laptops or speakers or anything that would have really got badly broken by it. Somehow my pedal board survived, and my keyboards that were submerged survived, and I don't know why, but it seemed to work out okay. But it was a very, very dramatic night.
So Declan, going back to 2017, when you were just 17 years old and you gave the world your debut album, so compare that to 2020 when you give the world Zeros. Did you feel much of a change within yourself as an artist?
Yeah, I think I'm always learning, and you never stop learning as a creator, as an artist. But I definitely just had a bit more of an understanding of working in a studio, and like, I guess, just knowing the things I'm good at and being able to channel, channel the energies I want to channel, and not, getting, I don't know, caught up in the wrong things, I guess, trying to get things too perfect or whatever, little things that kind of actually can ruin a bit of a creative process. So I'd learned so much from that process, and wanted to expand on my songwriting, and had more of an idea of how to do that. And just having confidence, I think, with creativity is so important. Whether you're collaborating with other people or just writing on your own, just being able to just go for your ideas and see what happens is so important. And so yeah, I built up a lot of confidence, and I think that was important to, developing on what I'd done before and doing something different.
So Declan, you've just released a video for your single Rapture literally a couple of days ago. How was filming a video about a Rapture type event whilst being in a year that, isn't quite on the levels of being described as a rapture, but it's, we've still got 27 days left, anything could happen, but there's been a lot of difficult circumstances to contend with this year, and what I guess I'm asking is, although Rapture was written far before COVID and everything, it must feel somewhat apt at the moment.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Yeah, I mean, obviously we made the record last year, so it's a little bit away from COVID world that you might think it was alluding to, but it is a strange time, and there is a lot of conspiracy theories going around. There's a lot of ideas that make it feel like it's the end of the world, and I suppose I was having a bit of fun with that with this music video, and just maybe not trying to take myself too seriously on it, because I understand the irony to the whole thing. But it was fun to do, and making a music video in this time is kind of chaotic, and we were just kind of embracing that to its fullest. And yeah, it was really fun to do, but importantly, can feel like the end of the world sometimes, but at least in this scenario it feels like there's a way out, and I think that's been a good thing to keep in mind.
It certainly did look like a really good video to film. Declan, would you like to introduce this track we're going to play right now on the Alternative Show, your song Rapture? Would you like to introduce it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm Declan McKenna, and this is my song Rapture.
So that was Rapture on the Alternative Show from the brand new album by Declan McKenna, who joins us now. Declan, I don't know how true this is, but I saw somewhere that you said you want to self-produce your third album. Would that be, first of all, is that true? But also, if it is, that would be quite a full circle moment for you, I guess, wouldn't it? Because that's how everything started with Brazil and Bethlehem and those songs. I know you got help from James Ford producing that, right? But, you know, it's the same.
Yeah, I mean, the first couple of songs there was a big batch of songs prior to those releases, I guess, that were very much self-produced and just using the tools I had to do it, my laptop and Audacity or whatever software I had to do it on, which probably wasn't very good. But I guess over the past few years, I've been able to work with a few producers and just get a bit of experience off of them. And now I just feel I've always had interesting production ideas, and I've always been very hands-on with the production of my records. It's just having the confidence to really just be can I finish this song? Can I do that? That's kind of maybe if there was a bit of a development in my confidence as a songwriter and composer over, for the second album, there's a bit more confidence now in myself as a producer, as I've just tried to focus on that a little bit. And not that I would produce it entirely. I'm definitely going to have a few other people involved, but I'm definitely going to be a bit more hands-on, have, the project files on my laptop and be able to mess around with them a little bit more. And, just work in a slightly different capacity and work in a different way. So it'll be something a little more like self-produced, maybe not entirely, because I also sort of value collaborating with friends and different people. And, I think it's important to get different perspectives. But on the whole, I'd be really keen to do that now. But that could all change in the space of time it takes to make it. But that's my idea now.
So let's go back to this album Zeros that you put out in September, which unfortunately you did have to push back quite a lot due to that thing, as we've just said, COVID. But all over this record, Declan, there is this idea of destruction, whether that be about the environment or politics, and you kind of make it into a person in this figure that is Daniel. Did you set out to make that sort of record, or were you kind of just writing what's happening around, not just you, but all of us?
It's a bit of both. The character and idea of Daniel kind of did come out of nowhere, really, just writing one song. But, just gradually as you're making all these different songs and everything's kind of going along, you start to kind of stitch them together. And I guess I've always had characters in my songs. It's just never been quite too obvious who they were, or, if you maybe weren't paying attention too hard, you might not notice they were there at all. But with this record, I definitely wanted to be involve characters, because I think I like writing stories, and that's a way I like to write and show a perspective on the world. I've always kind of looked at the big picture with music, and I guess characters maybe make it a little easier to do and a little bit less preachy. I can make a story out of it, I can make it fun, I can make it I can kind of say whatever I want, but place it into this story. And whether that's based around my life, whether it is, as you say, based around dread in the environment, like Daniel kind of encapsulates a lot of the dread I've experienced, and encapsulates a lot of my own traits, maybe sort of catastrophized a little bit. I definitely enjoy that process of just using characters to channel the ideas and channel the story, because it's something to connect to and with, for me, I think, and for people who are listening to it. And it's just kind of been the natural progression to be I'm going to write with characters.
Yeah, and I think that's a real compliment to you, because what is so special, I think, about this idea of Daniel, but not specifically Daniel, just the whole record in itself. And I think you applied maybe your personal experience, but not in a direct way that you're writing them about you. You can relate, is what I'm trying to say. I think, is that fair enough to say?
Yeah, I think so. I'm always talking about myself deep down, in some capacity, because my songwriting process is very immediate, I guess, at the minute, at least. It's very based around seizing the moment and saying what comes to my head, and even if it changes down the line, just being impulsive. And I think just picking a character, picking an identity, picking just an idea, however big or small, to channel those ideas, worries, anxieties, whatever they are, anything really into that just gives it a sense of cohesion before you've even figured out what you're doing, which is good and valuable, I think, as an artist.
So this album Zeros is exceptional, but we want to hear it in person, and I'm sure you want to play it to everyone in person. And that brings us on to your UK and Europe tour, which is like nearly sold out, hasn't it? It just went off completely.
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah, which actually is a bit of a touchy subject because John Henry here got tickets to you playing in Cambridge, my hometown, and I missed out on them.
It'll happen. I don't know if I know anyone who lives in Cambridge. Actually, Will, our keyboard players, are from around there, or bass player now is from around there. But
only the best.
It's good. It's a good place to play. It's always rowdy.
Definitely.
One thing I want to ask you, it's a quick question, it's a simple question. British Bombs, it fits, like sonically speaking, I think it fits perfectly on the album. What was it that held you back from putting it on? Was it ever meant to be there in the first place?
I don't know. I worked on it with a different producer. It felt like thematically maybe it was just much more direct than Zeros is, and didn't fit into that world for me. Like, and it would have taken up a lot of space on the record. And I was just like, it's already out. People have it. If they want to put it on the end of the record, they can. So, but in terms of the way most people listen to records. So, yeah, I kind of quite categorically decided against, just because I felt it already had its own little world going on, and I was happy with that. I think for me, the themes of Zeros are a little bit less on the nose, and British Bombs, I don't know. I don't want to detract from either of those things by intertwining them. I think that's just what felt natural to me. But I'm glad you like it. It's a really fun song, I think.
So Declan, to finish, we're gonna finish with Be an Astronaut, which is my favourite song off of Zeros. Can you just whereabouts did that come in the process of making the album? Was it one of the first, or was it later on in it?
It was fairly early on. It was kind of. It kind of gave me a bit of a sense of direction, I guess, for the album, even though it's maybe the most glammy sort of sounding one. It definitely, pointed me in a direction for how expansive I could go on this album and how much I could do. And it came along very early, and I wrote it very quickly. In about half an hour, I wrote what is the bulk of the song, just sat on a piano, which is so rare, and it was the only song like that on the album. And I don't know, I was very excited by it. It felt like the song I needed to write to kind of really get me going, and it was kind of in the interim of touring and all of that, and just a bit of a whirlwind.
Declan, thanks so much for joining us. It's been great to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and have a great rest of 2020 as much as you can, and good Christmas.
Yeah, no worries. Have a good Christmas.